Hello, this is my intro to animation class, and I'm going to go over kind of how to do the bouncing ball. The bouncing ball is a very classic animation exercise. It's a very contained and small project, especially the looping one, and it helps you make sure that it's a good way to make sure that you know how to spacing and timing and squash and stretch. So let's take a look. So background is just the color. The ground is this line I put there because I want an impact without it hitting the bottom of the frame. That's a good rule of thumb. Try not to have things hit the border of the frame. Colors, basically I just made filled in the color of the ball. That's not necessary if you don't want to do that. The next is the plan. So this is just to demonstrate at the peak it's going slow, so there's more frames, and then it steadily becomes less frames, and when it goes fast it's going to impact, and then it shoots up and it goes slower and slower because the gravity is pushing it down, and it's going slow and doing a little bit of hang time, and then it shoots down. So it's kind of going in a circle here. So like that to this. So that's kind of the timing of it. So and then the ball here is the line. So basically you'll see that I'm stretching as it goes down. So the first few are very tight together, so from here to there, see there's not much of a difference, and each frame is 2 frames, and then it's a little wider, then a little wider, and then a little wider, and I'm stretching a little bit, and I'm squishing. So I'm stretching it, and then I'm trying to make sure that I'm trying to keep the volume, the volume of it. So as it stretches, it should get thinner, and then it goes to the next one. It's super fast, so I'm stretching a lot and thinning it, and it's almost hitting the ground. And then when it hits the ground, it squishes really far, and then it shoots back up because it hits it and shoots right back up, and then it starts to be less stretch because it's losing energy. And then it's the distance is becoming less, and it's like no stretching, and then less, and then less, and then less. So those last ones there are almost very minimal. And a tip would be that if you don't, make sure that your last one and your first one, there's a bit of a difference in height, so that you don't want 2 positions as you're looping to be the same height from the beginning to the end. You want there to be a bit of an up and then a down. Okay, so that is that one. When you're doing this, some practical things for the tool. Here I'll add a layer. We'll start with 2 frames. Whenever you're starting, make sure that you make a good circle in the beginning, and make sure you put smooth on to help you with that. And then from here, then you can just duplicate, and the hotkeys for that are Shift F6, and see it made another frame, a duplicate, and then I can use this move tool to move it down a little bit, and I can do enter, hit Shift F6, and move it a little further. So you can use it, you don't have to draw every frame. You basically just take that frame and skew it a little bit more, and then Shift F6, and I can make it a little bit more stretched. Make sure that you narrow it when you after you stretch it, so the volume stays about the same. And there you go, and you just keep on going like that. And make sure you're naming your stuff and then saving. then the next assignment, or it's the same assignment, but there's two ball bounces. So let me open that up. It's going to be this one. So this one is much harder than the last one, but it also has good principles in there. So we want it to go to a settle, so there's no movement at the very end. Whenever you're doing any kind of animation, it's a good idea to see if you can find some reference, and here's some good reference. So if we hit play, it's bouncing. You'll see that right here, the energy that is lost, and things are going are decreasing and moving as a curve, like that. So right here should be kind of the shape of our, and thank you Raffle for making this. Let me undo this and go back to Rough Animator. So make sure that you put a ground down. Try whenever you're doing animation, you kind of don't want it to hit the actual edge of your screen, of your image. So I added this little box here for it to hit. And then the plan should look something like this, where it's decreasing in energy. Probably like a third is a good idea. Like I probably could have ended the height about right here, and then had it bounce like this. But the bounce will look different depending on the kind of ball. And what matters is it looks good. So if you can make it look good with your plan, that's fine. Each one of these knots, or these slots, is where the drawings are generally going to be. So this was very helpful for this one, just to make sure my bounce is consistent and not like jagged or like going all over the place. Help me keep it consistent. And then I added a color here just for visual purposes. It's not really necessary if you don't want to. And then the ball, so you'll see I'm putting that drawing right at where the notch is. So it's really helping a lot. Bop, bop. It really helped, especially on the smaller bumps. You'll notice I added a blue line here. This is where I kind of diverged a little bit. And that's okay if you feel like you need to diverge a little bit on your plan, because I was a little bit off on the size of the ball, so this wouldn't make sense. Otherwise, it would be falling through the floor. So we'll see then I have a bit of a roll that doesn't bounce at the very end. So hopefully that helps. It's a great exercise. So I'll see you in class. Bye.